Companion planting is such a great way to conserve space in your garden and also help other plants benefit off of one another. So I'm going to show you one specific garden bed where I have 6 different things growing in one garden bed, and it's just a great way to use up the space wisely, but nothing's overcrowding each other. So let's check it out. Alrighty, so in this garden bed right here, I have cabbage, green onions, cauliflower, kohlrabi, and a row of turnips and a row of radishes. So let's talk about why everything is planted this way. So the main thing is that I wanted my cauliflower, cabbage, and kohlrabi in one garden bed together because I'm going to put a floating row cover over this bed to keep away all of the cabbage moths and pests that bother these plants. So they're just newly planted. I need to get my cover over the top, but so far I'm not noticing any pests, so they're doing really well. But I wanted them all together so that I could just keep them all covered and prevent the pests. But the Copenhagen cabbage, which I have right here, is ready to harvest in about 70 days, maybe a little less, a little more depending on the weather and conditions. And so I planted a row of radishes in between because radishes mature really quickly. So I'm going to be harvesting these radishes way before the cabbage starts getting large. So the radishes, and of course radishes are also beneath the soil. So I have a root crop next to an above ground crop, and it's a really great combination. And then I did green onions in between, and the green onions are never going to affect the cabbage just because they grow upwards. They don't really get that large, and there's not going to be any issues with space being taken up. And the onions next to the cabbage is a really great one because it helps kind of keep the pests away. Then as we move down here, I have my snow crown cauliflower, and it's going to be ready to harvest in about 55 days. Same thing, I have some green onions next to it, which will kind of help deter some of the pests. And then I have a row of turnips, which are just starting to germinate, and they're going to be ready to harvest in about 40 to 50 days, I believe. And so I'll be harvesting those before they get in the way of the cauliflower. And then right here I have a row of kohlrabi. So this is just a great example of a garden bed that has a lot of variety to it. There's 6 different things: the cabbage, cauliflower, green onions, turnips, radishes, and kohlrabi. So it's a great way to use up the space. So I hope that was helpful showing you just all the different things that could be planted near one another. A few of the important things to keep in mind are days to maturity for root crops. So I purposely planted quick maturing root crops next to my half-season crops, which would include the cabbage and the cauliflower and the kohlrabi. So I'm harvesting the turnips and the radishes before I have to harvest the other crops, so there's no interference with competing for space or anything like that. And then the onions, I specifically did green onions because they're smaller and they'll help with the pest issue, but they don't get quite as large as a big large red onion or a large yellow onion. Some other things that you could have planted in there would be some lettuces or spinach, any kind of greens that just don't grow very big. You can interplant those around different crops, and don't always think that you have to plant everything in just one bed. You could plant a few lettuce plants in one area of a bed and a few lettuce plants in another area, just to help break up the space and use all of the space wisely. And if you're looking for some really quick maturing crops, I talk about quite a few quick maturing fall crops right here that are great to plant, that you can harvest quickly, and so you don't have to wait too long, or you could plant them next to longer season crops that take longer to mature, but they'll be out of the way before there's any interference of space. So I'll see you there.